Good morning class. I Pooja Verma going to take my lecture on subject concept of programming language C. So now in this lecture I am going to start a topic concept of algorithm. So what is the algorithm? Before going to describe this topic, I just want to say that whenever we are going to solve anything, a sort of plan, sort of rule, regulation maybe in your mind can, and then you work accordingly that. Similarly, in case of C programming language, we will also create some kind of step set of rules to specify that problems which we are going to handle. So we can say it is the set of instructions that combine to complete a task whether successfully or not. This is not mandatory that whatever step we followed and it is successful 100%. It may be wrong, it may be 99% correct, maybe 50% correct and so on. Maybe there are some kind of logical error in between your set of instructions and so on. So in the mathematics, like it can be imagined as a formula for solving or performing the calculation. For example, if we want to add some numbers given by anyone, then what in our minds occur? We just find that is any possibility to use, to apply any formula to solve it immediately, correctly, accurately and so on. So these are the known as the algorithm. That means planning about that. So we can say also an algorithm is a set of well-defined rules or method or procedure for solving a problem in a given number of steps. All the methods may be correct or even none. Algorithm is used to perform a particular task or get some result. After performing the method, some result is obtained, and it is not necessary that if result is correct, the use to perform the task was absolutely correct. This is the most important point. Maybe for some input value your answer is correct, but for other input value maybe it is not correct. So this is the most important point. For each and every definite set of input, the output will be accurate. So we can say an algorithm is always have a definite number of definite number of inputs and outputs. An input is some data that gives to the perform the some task, and an output is result that is produced by the algorithm. So algorithm must produce some output. As we know by this point, it must be finite. This is the most important point. That means that an algorithm must execute for finite number of steps only. How it is finite? That means don't be think like if you are going to solve any problem and it take infinite number of times. So is this correct? No, it is not correct, because when we are going to perform any operation, then it must be have finite number of steps which will be performed easily in finite number of time and get the finite number of outputs and so on. So we can say it should not be infinite. It must also be efficient. Each and every algorithm must satisfy the following points, which are point number 1 is input. What is the input in case of algorithm? So we go through by its definition. And input is the data or the information that is given to go ahead and execute the algorithm that use this information. That means whatever we are going to develop, what we give the data to develop that things, to achieve that goals. This is the most important things, and that data will be finite set, not infinite, that infinite number of input to give to our procedure and want to finite number of output. Then this is not possible. Always the set of input and set of output will be a finite set. Okay, so the next point is output, and output is the result that algorithm is produced. But obvious, the result is what? The result is known as the output value as per our requirement, as per our goal, as the user want to it. So at least one result should be obtained for each input set. Next point is, which is most important point about the algorithm, that is third point, definiteness. Definiteness means what? The execution step, that means the algorithm must be clear and unambiguous. Unambiguous means what? For that particular things we have only one method, not we have whatever the method we have don't produce the same output for different input set. That means what? If we give the data like A and B, then the result will be A plus B. When we give the input value C and D, then result will be C plus D, not A plus B. This is known as the unambiguous. If the both result are same for a different set of input value, then this is known as the unambiguity of that algorithm. That means what? We get each and every time same output value. There are no change in the output value. So what is our goal? Our goal is that whenever we change the input, then there must be change into the output. Okay, maybe clear this point. So next point is finiteness or termination. Finiteness means what? The step involved in our algorithm, it must be finite number of steps. That means what? If there is finite number of steps, then we can terminate our algorithm. Terminate means what? We can achieve our goal. If there are infinite number of steps, so what is happen here? We never ever go to get our result, our desired result as per our question. So this is the most important point, that finite number of steps. The last and important point is what? Effectiveness. The instructions of the algorithm should be very simple so that no difficulty is faced during the execution. That means what? Each and every step must be understood by every person. Don't we think that it only understand by the programmer only? No, if anyone else want to understand, to code that particular algorithm, then the coder can easily understand whatever the exactly algorithm is written, what is the exactly meaning is used here, and so on. So this is most important point, effectiveness. The instructions of algorithm should be very simple, so there are no difficulty is faced during its execution process. And then one of the most and important point about the algorithm features, that is known as the correctness. What is the correctness? An algorithm is correct if each and every input that satisfy some conditions called precondition of the algorithm. The output satisfy a certain predefined condition called the post condition of the algorithm. This is precondition and post condition is nothing. Before going to solve any problem, we have some kind of precondition that you must be follow this method, you have to be go through this method this way, and so on. Let take an example. Someone told you that go from Lucknow to Faizabad via car. So via car means what? This is a precondition. While moving from Lucknow to Faizabad, then you need to go through only a car. So if there is a car, so by which medium you can go? You must be follow the road. You can't go through any other method to reach that particular goal. So this is the precondition. And then post condition means what? If there are any condition when you reach to the Faizabad, then just do it. So just do it. Either you can get something, either you achieve this in finite time, and so on. So this is the post condition about the algorithm. These are the important points, and after that we are going through the types of algorithm. Based on the use and application of algorithm, it is divided into the two types. First one is known as the iterative and other one is known as the recursive algorithm. So what is the iterative and what is the recursive, we can see in the next. Iterative algorithm. Basically this algorithm is used loops so that it can execute for finite number of times. Loop is basically used for the finite number of times to execute anything. By help of loop we can give the initialization condition and also the termination condition to particular algorithm. When we go to start that execution of statement, and when we will stop the execution of particular statements. So this will be happen with the help of also loop. So whenever we are go to solve any problem in a loop, then we can understand this method which comes under the iterative algorithm. Okay, hope you are understand the meaning of iterative. That means there are number of iteration on the same condition to check, recheck and recheck until and unless that condition will be false. So next point, the differentiate loop. There are different loops are known as like for loop, while loop, do while loop and so on. We will also learn about these loop in the next lecture, how this the calling of for loop, while loop, do while loop is called, and we also saw in that lecture that how the algorithm is created and how we can execute its programming and how it is fully executed and how the iteration is called here. Okay, so along with the loops, decision making statements are also used so that loop can terminate after the certain amount of time or some condition is satisfied. If just think about, if the condition is never ever satisfied, so what is happened here? Loop will be go into the infinite time. So it is correct? No, this is not correct. Because of the property of algorithm, it must be finiteness, terminated. That means there must be, in any case, the condition will be false, so that we can move out from the loop and execute full program code and get our result as well as we want. So there are many decisions making statements also, like if statement, if else statement, nested if else and if else ladder and switches also. These are the points about the decision making statements. We also learn about these function calling method, like how we call the if function, if decision making statement, nested if, ladder if and so many things. Okay, don't be get any kind of stress, that means how it is used and where we use and so on. We can learn each and every points in next to next lecture. So next type of algorithm is known as recursive algorithm. This type of algorithm basically makes the module or divides the big problem into the small problem. Recursive means what? Just think about, that means someone told you that go from Lucknow to Mumbai via bike. So are you can do it in a one ride? No, maybe you divide your journey in several parts. First you go through this to this place and then take the rest, and then go through from that to that place and then take the rest and so on. So what is exactly happen here? We divide our big problem into the several small pieces, and first we are going to solve our small problem. Similarly, this technique is also used by algorithm known as the recursive technique. So first we solve our small pieces of work and then combine that results to get the final output. So here we can also find that method, and this is also known as the divide and conquer method. Here divide and conquer strategy. First divide and then conquer, that means what? Combine that results of small parts to get the final output. So go through the next point, develop an algorithm. How we can develop an algorithm? So this is nothing, this is just a working strategy. First what kind of information we need, first which value we need to consider, and then what to take the next step and the next step to get our result. So there are to develop an algorithm, there are so many strategy being also used. So what are that strategy and how we can apply this? So go through this topic. So in this step, the programmer must start writing the algorithms. It will consider of specific steps that will solve the problem. The programmer must use some strategy to solve the problem. The technique is called, there are so many techniques as I told you. The first technique is known as the top-down strategy, or also we can say the step-wise refinement. That means what? first decide top down means what? Just decide at first level what we do, at the next level what we do, and so on and so on, so on. We go through the down and exactly we get our whole output as a last point. Okay, so next point, in this technique the task is described as a problem and the problem is divided into the sub problems. Maybe further sub problems divided into the sub problems also. There is no none kind of the limitation that we can't further divide it. We can further divide it if we saw that our sub problem is also a type of a problem which can be handled by dividing into several parts. So we can divide it on that portion also until the stage are easily represented by the program code. That means what? And we just try to divide our problem into the smaller and smaller part so that we can easily get our output value of smallest part, and then we can easily combine that and then so on. So dividing and conquer method is also known as the top down strategy. That means what? First dividing and then other subdividing and then sub to subdividing and so on. So this is what? Top movement from the top and then move to the bottom and bottom and bottom and then bottom. So we can find our result. Okay, so this technique is represented in better manner in which a given below. So how this will be the best? So we can see with the help of these 5 points. First point is the develop an initial solution. It should describe the solution correctly. Refine this solution. Each stage should be considered as a problem. The description must again describe the solution correctly. Continue until the problem is completely solved. So why continue? Because our goal is what is our final goal? Our final goal is complete solution of that particular problem. So that's why only we need to continue until the problem is completely solved. Okay. So next, now we are going to start the introduction of the programming language. So what is the programming language? How we write it? How we give the input that data? How we get the output from this data? And so many things. So first of all, we have to understand about our system, our programming language working, strategy, and so many things. So let's start with this point, introduction of the programming language. So first of all, a programming language is a tool which is used to programmer as it allows them to write the programs, code, instructions. That is what? This is known as the input. The coding which you are write, this is a type of input to that particular machine. After that, it will be translated into the machine language. Why it will be translated into the machine language? As I already told in my lecture first, that our system can understand only machine language because of it is a what? It is an electronic device. It can't understand our language. So there must be a type of translator being used to translate our input value into the machine language, which is easily understand and can be executed by the computer. So after this, the computer can perform over this input value and produce the output as we want. So this system provide an appropriate output. So programming language is basically so now we can see what is a programming language and what kind of the rule and regulation must be followed by the programming language. All the programming language have predefined syntax and the rules. As we do anything, like when we are in school and learn the English language, so our teacher can taught us that there are grammar of English language. Either we are going to learn the math subject, then there are so many formula, we have to learn about the formula, meaning of that formula, and then most important thing, use of that formula. Similarly, the programming language also have some kind of predefined syntax rules which must be followed while writing the programs. Syntax can be explained as a style of writing the programs and the combination of the symbols, alphabet and so on, which carry a specific meaning. If a syntax is not followed correctly, then its result is an error. Like if in grammar, English grammar, we don't follow our rules and regulations, so what is happen? The grammar, there are grammatical error. The just learn in compared to the English language. In English language, as we write our language with the help of grammar, we need to follow the grammatical rules and so on. Similarly, in case of programming language, syntax means what? The grammar of programming language. So we must be follow that rule, regulation in the programming language also. Maybe now you have clear your doubts. So different programming language have different syntax and rule. Like English language have different grammatical rules, Hindi language have their different grammatical rules, math has a different rule and regulation. So similarly here also in case of programming language, there are so many different programming languages which are used different rule and regulations. Okay, so next go through the next part, how the syntax rule is followed by the programming language and what is happening exactly in the programming language and so on. So programming language can be produced object oriented and dynamic oriented and so on. So what is the meaning of object oriented, producer oriented, dynamic oriented? We can learn, go through by the one by one subject language. As our subject is the C programming language, so we can only go through the C types of C language. Which kind of C language? C is basically a procedure oriented language. What is the meaning of procedure oriented language? If we go just to see this procedure oriented name, by its name we can see that means what? There are type of procedure is being used. That means it concentrate on the procedures, functions used in writing a program. That means step working, step by step. First what kind of input value we need, then what kind of the operation over that input value, then what kind of operation we perform on that particular value, resultant value, and so on and so on, and so at last we get our final output value. The instructions are written for the different tasks that are to be performed, which organized into a different groups called as a function. Like we need to perform the arithmetic operation, and similarly we need to perform some kind of logical operation. So what we have done, we make two functions. First for the arithmetic functions operations, and then another is create for the logical operation. So just dividing our task into the different groups, and by how we can call our groups? By help of functions in the programming language. Okay, so most important is given to the development of a function rather than data which is being used. Thus, C is known as the procedure oriented programming language and also called as POP. C is also referred as the structured language. Why it is structured? Because here the structure being used, that means what? Techniques, structure, writing style must be used. First we have to be define this point and this, and then we can go only through this point. Like someone told you, like to create anything, to perform the addition over the two numbers. So you what you have first, you have to dash two numbers on which you need to perform that addition. So if you don't have the input value, you don't have the numbers, so where you perform your addition? You can't perform your addition. No? So here is also, this is the structure. That means what kind of the value first you need, and what will you perform first, and then after that, and so on. So this is known as also a structured. Procedure and structure both are same. So now go through the generation of the programming language. First we understand about the generation. How today we learn, why today we learn C, Java, Python and so on languages. Why not? So what is the history of, we can see the history of the programming language. First which kind of programming language being introduced, and then further how the enhancement done over that language, and then again and again what kind of the enhancement done over the old programming languages. So the first generation is known as the machine code. Machine code is what? Binary language. As I already told in the previous lecture, binary language means nothing, it's just form of 0 and 1. That means each and everything will understand by our computer in form of 0 and 1 series. So this is only a language that communicates with the microprocessor directly. Why directly? Because our computer can understand machine language and the input given by the user is also the machine language. So is there are any type of translator being used? No. Why? Because the data given by the user is also a machine language and machine can understand machine language. So the machine can directly understand whatever the user want to perform and how we can process it and how we can generate the output value. So there are none kind of the translator being used in this type of generation, in this programming generation. But what kind of the difficulty faced by the programmer? The most important difficulty faced by the programmer to write that programs in this language, like we need to type 1110, but in place of 1110 we can write maybe 4 times 1 and 0, maybe we type 2 times 1 and 0. So this is very tough to learn about the meaning of 110, about the meaning of 1110, about the meaning of 4 times 1 and 0, and so on. This combination of 1 and 0, the learning about that combination of 1 and 0 is very tough for the programmer, because in normal age we can learn our normal languages, and so we need we are easy to use that language. We are not easy to go through the machine language. So this is a very difficult. So the programmer can face very much difficulties issue during writing the programs in this language, and this language is also known as the low level language. Okay, so next generation is being introduced by the new authors, that means known as the second generation language. In case of second generation, it is known as the assembly language, which is also known as the human readable code language. There are no need to convert from hexadecimal format to the binary format. That means what? Hexadecimal format, that means the written machine language into the binary format. So there is no need of conversion of this. It happened here. But while executing, one must know hexadecimal value from the instructions written in this language. This is also known as the low level language. So at last, the third generation language being introduced by the authors, which is known as the English statement being used. Like the user can write their code in the language in which they feel easy to write their codes and so many things. So here these statements are known as the source code, these English statements, and source code must be converted into the executable machine code. But this job is done by help of compiler. What is done by the compiler? To convert that machine code into the executable machine code. That machine code means, that source code means what? The English statement. The English statement written by the user can convert it into the executable machine code. Executable machine code what? That means machine understanding language, and this is done by help of the compiler. The language in this generation are also called as the high level language. This is the most important point. The high level language is which type of generation, in which type of generation occur? Third generation occur. There are so many programming language being introduced. First one, COBOL. COBOL is nothing. The full form of COBOL is Common Business Oriented Language. Just the uppercase of each word is taken and then create COBOL. Common, CO, from the common, CO, from the business, B, oriented, O, language, from language L is taken, so that a COBOL language is being created. This is basically used for the business purpose, like in industry, industry field, this language being used. The next programming language is Fortran. The Fortran is nothing, it's just a formula translator. Like write any math, we need to calculate any mathematical operation and so on. So there are Fortran languages also being used where we need to translate our formulas and so many things. From the formula we take for, and from the translator we take trans. So this language is create Fortran. Okay. So now at last the basic language is introduced, which is known as the beginner's all-purpose symbolic instructions code. Okay, there are also so many other languages is introduced in this generation, name as Pascal, C, so and so on. So, what is the structured programming language and what is the style of programming in which the programmer divide the programs into the smaller parts of the code? As I already told you in the programming language what is happening in the structured programming language. In case of structure, we just divide our toughest program into the smaller parts and then go through the clear visualization of that subset parts. And a programming language program can be organized into the several modules, and the different modules are easier to understand and debug also. The previously, when the procedure programming language was used, the statements were executed in the sequence. The different statements like go to, breaks and continue, which are used to break or transfer the flow of programs were used. Basically, these are the type of calling of functions by which and these words meaning is predefined. This is known as the keywords. If you saw the keywords table as in the first lecture I described, this is basically a keyword which meaning is predefined into the programming language C. The go to and break and continue is basically used to transfer the flow of control. That means we just transfer that no, you will not go through the next step. Where I instruct you, you only go through there only. Fine. So this is happened with the help of go to, break and continue. It becomes difficult in such situation to debug and find error also. Thus, the unstructured programming language was used. In case of structured programming language, allowed to use only control and looping structure like if else, switch, for, while and so on. Because of why? Because the writing style of these are defined. We must be take this first and then this and then this and then at last we did this. So there are a type of procedure, there are type of steps, there are type of step working procedure structures is decided, predefined. Like you must be, if you want to call if and else, then you must be have some kind of conditions. For that you need to check the condition is true or false. If true, then you go through the then part. If false, then you go through the else part. Similarly, like you now want to use the for or while, so you again need some kind of initialization step. You need to some kind of termination step. Termination step is means what? You need to some kind of condition to which you need to check and recheck in the iterative process, and then whenever the condition is false, then you can go out from the loop. So what is this? There are a definite step is being used and you must be follow that rules. So this is known as the programming, structured programming. Okay. So now again we go through the high level language. What is the high level language? As it started in the third generation, I already talked to you that the third generation language is known as the high level language, in which the user can write their programs in human readable language, that means English language. But is the computer can understand the human readable language? No, computer can't understand the writing of human language, English language. So that only we must be a type of converter translator being used, so that the English language, English statements which are used by the user can convert into the binary language. Binary language means what? In the series of 0 and 1s. Thus, it is necessary for the English language to be converted into the machine code, and this job is done by help of compiler only, because compiler is being used for converting the source code into the executable form. So in which form? Executable form. So executable form is what? The machine code, because the machine code is being used, is being read by the machine. So it translates the high level language into the machine code or assembly language, and so the program will execute at final. So high level language are used for the following reasons. First one, the main advantage of using the high level is that it is easy to use, easy to learn, and easy to compare to the any other programming language like assembly language or machine language. Programmer can develop a systematically without carry of programming language or concentrating on the programs. So third point, it is very simple to write the program, become it more problem oriented. It is also easier to understand once it is written. It is very easy to debug a program writing in the high programming language than a program written in the low level language. Why it is tough in writing the program in low level language? Because the low level language means what? We need to type our program in series of 0 and 1 bit forms. So this is a very tough. So reason this is the more attention that is placed on the logic of the program rather than the details of the machine code. Because of what? We need to solve our problem. We have the logic of that problem. First, if we take the so many times, we spend our so much times on learning the machine code, and then we go through the writing the program. So there are what is happening. Maybe you need to write your program in 10 minutes, but you take 1 hour to learn the machine code. You can't perform your work within a time period. So for this point only, we can go through the high level programming language, not any other programming language. Either it is low level, either it is assembly language, and so on. So this is the biggest advantage of using the high level programming language, that it is basically easy to write, easy to debug, easy to execute, and easy to learn of the user also. And the most important point is what? It is take lesser time compared to any other programming language. So thank you class. At the last, one point is also missing here. The preparing the documentation is also lot more easier in the high level language as compared to the low level language. Even maintaining them, it is not a problem. So yeah, of course, I already told you that if writing style is easy, then easily you can maintain your program code on the documentation, on your reports, and so on. And also the other person can easily understand what the user, what the programmer, what the coder want to say, want to describe in this programming code, and so on. So at the last, if you have any kind of the problem in this theory portion, then you can just put your question in the comment box, and I will feel good to solve your problems and so on. So thank you class. Have a good day.